Now, this question of how did the injustice and the criminality and the abuse that we see on every corner of this globe, how did it actually originate, has been addressed by several writers. Leonard Shlain, for instance, in his most recent book, Sex, Time and Power, he has this to say: Eve's descendants have steadily accumulated the power to destroy each other in an unholy Armageddon and, like sleepwalkers, are shuffling towards a planetary ecological disaster. But how could a slight, 5-foot-tall, two-legged animal create such sublimity and yet wreak so much havoc in so minuscule an interval of Earth's history? Erich Fromm, in his Anatomy of Human Destructiveness, writes about the real difference between the man and the beast. I mean, this is a question that has puzzled so many people, biologists, scientists, theologians, activists. What is the actual real difference, if there is one, between man and animal? Well, the real difference might in fact surprise you. Fromm says this: man differs from the animal by the fact that he is a killer. He, the only primate that kills and tortures members of his own species without any reason, either biological or economic, and who feels satisfaction in doing so. It is this biologically non-adaptive and non-phylogenetically programmed malignant aggression that constitutes the real problem and the danger to man's existence as a species. And he goes on to say, the most ample and horrifying documentation for seemingly spontaneous forms of destructiveness are on the record of civilized history. The history of war is a report of ruthless and indiscriminate killing and torture, whose victims were men, women, and children. Many of these occurrences give the impression of orgies of destruction, in which neither conventional nor genuinely moral factors have any inhibitory effect. There is hardly a destructive act human imagination could think of that has not been acted out again and again. Leonard Shlain talks in his book on aggression. Homo sapiens, he says, possesses features that are located so far out at the extremes of the bell-shaped primate curve that they invite the curious to explore them. One of these is the capacity for aggression among humans, particularly the male of the species, and the pleasure most men so obviously derive from hunting and killing other animals. Our aggression has not only been outwardly directed at other species. Interspecies mayhem, in the form of wars, duels, fights, persecutions, diabolical tortures, and genocide due to ethnic, racial, and religious hatred, has no parallel in the animal world. The sexual aggression exhibited by some human males towards females is without correspondence in the wild. The major rise in out-killing prowess occurred primarily in the last 100,000 years, with the sharpest spike limited to the last 40,000 years. Creation is a nightmare spectacular, taking place on a planet that has been soaked for hundreds of millions of years in the blood of its creatures. The soberest conclusion we can make is that the planet is being turned into a vast pit of fertilizer. And this is from San Francisco surgeon, one of the leading authors of our time. A perplexing problem, the whole problem of injustice and inhumanity, and the idea that it's just a natural movement of evolution, it's just nature's blunder, is simply not carrying weight anymore. How could that which is responsible for perfect order in the universe, from the greatest neutron star to the smallest atom, which is in perfect equilibrium, perfect harmony, make such a blunder in its highest creation, which is human beings? Man the destroyer, Homo vastans. On the one hand, man is akin to many species of animals in that he fights his own species. But on the other hand, he is among the thousands of species that fight the only one in which fighting is disruptive. Man is the only species that is a mass murderer, the only misfit in his own society. This is from Norman Tinbergen. Then from Erich Fromm, again, he says, man's aggressive behavior as manifested in war, crime, personal quarrels, and all kinds of destructive and sadistic behavior is due to the phylogenetically programmed innate instinct which seeks for discharge and waits for the proper occasion to be expressed. He goes on to say that only man seems to take pleasure in destroying life without any reason or purpose other than that of destroying. To put it more generally, only man appears to be destructive beyond the aim of defense or of attaining what he needs. And I might add, what is this strange phenomena that man requires religion? He has this barbaric, sadistic side, and then at the same time, he is the only creature that requires a religion. You don't see any other animal worshipping at altars or praying or even needing to conceive of that kind of thing. So where did this need arise is also one of the perplexing questions that is still with us. And of course, as I said in the preface of the book, when we normally have questions regarding the nature of evil, where is it normally that we turn? We turn to religion. We turn to the priests and the priestarchies. And they tell us, yes, this is our problem, this is our province, and we'll certainly explain it. But 2,000 years has gone by, and they've created more labyrinthine questions in trying to answer that one. And the scientists, well, they're not much concerned with the moral question, again, making things more difficult. And as I said in the preface, in one way you can think that the institutions of these organizations have been the worst purveyors of evil we've ever known.